Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Cropper here. Let's talk about the Objectivist bus. I've decided on reflection, because there was a comment that said maybe it's not a bus, maybe it's this or that or the other, and he gave some options. Now, it can't be a motorcycle. That's very individualistic, but it just doesn't carry enough people, and for the purposes of objectivism, there's going to have to be some room for people that aren't driving. Now, let me give an example of that. House of Sunny, the Sunny podcast. She would be a passenger in the bus. I was, seemingly may still be, a passenger in the bus. There are people who are with objectivism, but they are not thought leaders, and they don't go out and read all the scholarly books on a subject and then write it down in a series of essays or whatever and give speeches, and they don't do that, but they're objectivists. And that's where Sunny falls, I think. I don't know, I can't speak for her necessarily, but I'm about to use her video, so I'm trying to give you a characterization of her. And that's where I fall. I mean, I think that's where she falls, but whatever. She'll have to say she's not an objectivist if she wants to. She's an objectivist. Forget about it. That's ridiculous. She's an objectivist. I'm an objectivist. We want to know what the hell's going on with the vehicle that we're riding in. Now, it turns out that it's not a bus. It's also not a car. It's not a horse. It's not a motorcycle. It turns out that it's an armored personnel carrier. It's a tank of some kind. A tank with extra guys. That's what it is. Alright? Now we want to know what's going on. We believe in the mission. We just have to understand the mission. Alright? Now, have you heard of Themistocles? Alright. If you've heard of Themistocles, you know that if the situation is not being dealt with correctly, somebody will come up out of the rabble and take control. Alright? So the situation needs to be dealt with competently. Now look, if Western culture is not being dealt with competently, Jordan Peterson's going to come up out of he's just some professor at some random university in Canada. He's going to take control of the whole scene. If there's a vacuum, and there is, and that's what we see, it's happening. Okay. Alright, apparently Iran is getting people upset. Let's see. I mean, you guys have seen my video on it. So let me, and I said this to Rucka, I said this to Trollface, I said, who has these ideas? Where are these ideas? It's today. It's in America today. Oh, Jim Woods, I'm going to have to catch up on that very soon here. It's all of our ideas today are present in people now, in reality. Okay? Let's not forget that. Let's not think about patriotism and irrationality and epistemological mistakes and stuff. Who has them? If it's the people I've met, I'll have to tell you that a lot of the people who voted for Trump are really good people. Really good people. They're not scumbags, and they're not 1 inch from being white nationalist, totalitarian, racist scumbags. They're not. Alright, so let's hear what Yaron has to say.
So
And that's disappointing.
It is disappointing, and Yaron seems dismissive of a lot of the concerns of actual Americans. And we've kind of been talking about, he seems to separate his idea of America from Americans and from the actual people who live.
You see, when I heard her say that, I said, well, that's what I've been saying. Now, I listened to this some weeks ago. This went up May 29th, and I listened to it probably a couple months ago now. But, I just listened here and there. Tonight I listened to it all the way through and heard quite a lot more. You should go listen to it. It's very good. It's very interesting. I don't agree with absolutely everything that's said. I do think in the long run, something almost like open borders will be what a free society ends up with. I mean, I just don't think that there's any way around it. They'll have a desire for people to come in, and there will be a place for people to come in to work, and so I think in the long run, very close to open borders. I mean, let me just say, the United States of America currently has more immigrants. We take in more immigrants than all the other countries in the world combined. So it's not like we need to radically change to become an open border country. We're already really dangerously close to that. So the question is, is it moral to protect our borders? And I think that's like, is it moral to lock your door at night? I mean, hello, there's 7 billion people on the planet. Okay, so let's let her say a little more.
Here, so, yeah, so that's, I don't know what I want. I want Yaron to write down his idea. I want him to write down his damn viewpoint. Let's get some scholarly action going here, and let's have the Ayn Rand Institute maybe needs to put out, here is our view, and let people read it and review it. I'd like to see some of the other objectivist intellectuals speak out about this topic.
All right, so we want some leadership from Yaron. We want a coherent statement. Objectivists love to get something said so that we can then disprove it and get you to either admit that you'll change your mind, or, objectivists like to have things set down. That's what we're going on about right here. And it's not just a bunch of crazy white racist nationalists who want this debate to be had or want this policy to be set. We're not just white crazy nationalist racists. We're Americans. We're patriotic Americans in some cases. I certainly am. Patriotic Americans are not scumbags. Oh, you can't just defend tradition. I'm defending the United States of America. Can you find any value in the United States of America? That's what I'm defending. As an objectivist, why would you defend something that's not perfect? How insane is this question? That's Platonic. That's not objectivism. Objectivists live in the real reality. We're objective about the real reality. All right, so I'm not the only one who's saying, come on, get real. Let's get an actual policy here, and quit saying derogatory and offensively stupid and rude things about the American people. And then just go listen to the things that Sonny's on about. You're on saying the American people are good people. We can handle it. We're a different culture, and the American people are bad people. The immigrants are as good or better than us. Like, what are you saying here? Is there a core of good American people? If so, what are their beliefs? Who are they? Where are they? Where do they live? What's their address? I'll tell you what their address is. 1-800-VOTED for Trump. So, and is Trump a maniac, racist dictator? Or is he a patriotic American who's never really read very much, hasn't even read the Bible, but is doing from his sense of life what he thinks is best for America? And you say, oh, well, it's just his sense of life. Well, maybe that's not going to be good enough. I don't know. It's certainly better than Hillary Clinton rolling forward with her plan for totalitarianism. Trump rolling back, trying to reduce government, trying to get government out of this, that, and the other. Oh, he passed a big budget. Yeah, he's not perfect. He's not Jesus Christ. Is that what you're waiting for? Jesus Christ on his throne to come back? I mean, is this some sort of religion? We live in the real world here. We have to take stock in the real world. All right, I think I've said what I've said. Objectivism is not a bus, it's an armored personnel carrier. Thank you, Sonny, for the brief clip that I used there. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're not familiar with the House of Sonny, you should probably check her out. Some very interesting content over there. Oh, if you support what I do, please patronize me. The bus driver collects fare if I'm an objectivist bus driver. If it's an armored personnel carrier, maybe I don't get to collect fare, but I'm not driving yet, right? You're on still driving. But we're seeing about this.